Hi guys, my name's Summer Gorman and I'm so excited that you're joining me on this journey of pursuing hope. I want you to think back with me for a moment in time where you might have felt hopeless. You see, we all have seasons of discouragement, and the whole purpose of this channel, the whole purpose of pursuing hope, is to encourage you during those seasons. It's to encourage you in every season that no matter where you are in life, there's always hope and you can keep on pursuing it. So, I have a question. Where do you find your hope? If you're anything like me, you might have a tendency to grab onto things that are here on this earth. Whether it be family or relationships or a job or friendships or whatever. We have a tendency to grasp onto those things for hope. And whereas those things are important and we need to have those things in our life, finding our hope in them isn't stable. And I'm not talking about crazy Uncle Bob over there who's, not stable. I'm talking about each one of these things are prone to change at the drop of a hat due to mere circumstances. Now, I hope this doesn't happen to any of you, but we can lose family members and friendships and relationships and jobs. And I hope that doesn't happen, but that's why it's not stable, because if life doesn't go as planned, where does our hope go? I'd like to direct your attention for a moment to a man who had to deal with a lot of hopelessness. He struggled a lot, both mentally and had a lot of physical battles that he had to fight through, and he went through a lot of seasons of discouragement. This man's David. Now, if you're familiar with the story of David, you know that as a young boy, he was promised he would be king over Israel. In fact, a prophet, which is just a person who spoke God's word, so basically God's promising him this, a prophet named Samuel came to David and told him he was going to be the next king over Israel, which is awesome. We all love that, right? We all love the promise of God. We're like, yeah, I'm going to be king, or for me, I'm going to be queen. It's exciting. However, David's promise didn't come true until many, many years later. In fact, he had to face many trials and many battles before he got to see the promise of God fulfilled. The king during that time, King Saul, was jealous of David. He was just angry at his growing popularity and his growing influence. In fact, so much so that David had to flee for his life into the wilderness with a ragtag group of followers, and it seemed hopeless. It seemed like God's promise was delayed. But David still had hope. You see, David had to fight a lot of mental and physical battles. In fact, in Psalm 13, 1-2, David writes, "How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I wrestle with my thoughts and every day have sorrow in my heart? How long will my enemy triumph over me?" You see, guys, we will face battles. We will face times of hopelessness. And let me just say, it's okay. It's okay to feel emotions. It's okay to allow yourself to process through that. What's not okay is staying there. You see, immediately after David writes this, and this is one of my favorite things about David, is immediately after he brings his struggles to God, he turns right back around and starts rejoicing God. In fact, in Psalm 13, 4-5, David writes, "But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord, for he has been good to me." How can he write this? I mean, are you guys following the same story that I am? This man has been promised to be king, and rather than that, he is running around trying to scrape around for food, trying to stay alive from a king who's trying to kill him. Like, how is that good? David understood something that many of us, including myself, fail to remember sometimes, and that is that God's in control. David was able to rejoice because he knew God was in control. But don't miss this, you guys. Don't miss this. David was real with God. He didn't try and say, like, oh, life's okay, it's fine, it's okay that somebody's trying to kill me, like, it's all good. No, he was real with God. He was like, this sucks. This isn't fun. This isn't what I thought I was promised. Where are you? Like, how long am I going to have to face this? How long am I going to have to be depressed and face these battles? But David doesn't allow himself to stay there. In the war between faith and fear, our focus determines which one prevails. Let me say that again. In the war between faith and fear, our focus determines which one prevails. David forced his focus to be on God. David forced himself to focus on what was good. And as he lifted up his struggle, as he was honest with God and just chose to put his faith in God, he was able to find peace, and he was able to just release these things to God and find hope. And during his times of struggle, he chose to be faithful to God. And because he was faithful to God, and he didn't give up, and he continued to pursue hope, hope found him. The story ends good, you guys. David becomes king, he rules over the nation, and the nation prospers under his rulership. But it's because he chose to pursue hope. David didn't give up. I know for me, a time in my life when I felt hopeless was, honestly, it was whenever I was trying to find where I wanted to go to college. And I'm in college now, believe me guys, I know what it's like to be hopeless. But it was actually one of the most hopeless seasons of my life. I felt like the promises of God weren't coming to fruition, and college was just another thing on the list that I was like, okay, how am I going to do this now too? I didn't know where I wanted to go. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. I didn't know what I wanted to major in because, high school is I love this about high school. It is constantly terrifying us with the next step. It's saying you're going to go to college and then you're going to die because you have student loans. I thought that I was going to graduate high school and die. And I am happy to report that that was not the case. But my fear was ruling me. It was only after I chose to release the outcome to God and just say, God, I don't know what you have for me, but I trust you. It was then when the blessings started coming in. And I'm not trying to say that whenever you just put your faith in God, all your problems go away. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that your spirit and where you are in your mind is able to be brought to a place of peace and a place of joy. And it doesn't matter where you are circumstantially, because you're just full of peace and you know that regardless of your situation, God's in control. And so it wasn't immediately whenever I put my faith in God that the blessings started coming, but the blessings did come. And that's what I want to encourage you. The blessings will come. Now I'm going to CFSEU. I am flourishing, honestly, in that environment. I have great friends. I love my classes. I love my teachers. I love what I get to be part of. I know what I want to major in. And financially, God's provided. And I'm so, so blessed. But if I had chosen to stay in fear, I would have never been able to walk in faith. I don't know what you guys are going through right now, and I'm not trying to minimize what you're going through. I know a lot of you have a lot more serious things than where you want to go to college. But what I do want to say is there's hope. There's hope. You don't have to live in fear, and you can walk in faith because God has got you. It says in Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." My friend, you are loved. You are valued, and you have purpose. God has amazing plans for your life. You just have to keep on pursuing hope.